made Volvo Trucks a market leader when it comes to safety?
It's that we had very early on a really strong focus on safety when not everybody had a focus on safety, and especially not then on the safety of truck drivers. When we were really pioneers, when we focused and we made crash tests of our cabs, our trucks, to make sure that they were safe for the truck drivers in the event of an accident. So that's really, I think, what took us to the position of being a market leader within safety. And then we continued that work early on again then by starting our accident research. It's really important to learn about accidents, to know how to prevent them and how to reduce injuries in the accidents that happen. So that's of course helped us to maintain that position, is that we have continuously improved in the area of safety, introducing new systems that help protect the drivers, but also other road users that are in accidents with heavy trucks. And then also that we don't only focus on the accidents per se and introducing new systems, it's also about spreading knowledge and spreading awareness. So I think that it's really good that we have this holistic view when it comes to safety. And then I'm specifically thinking of awareness programs we have, like the Stop Look Wave, where we go out to schools and teach children about heavy trucks and how heavy trucks behave in traffic, and of course then how the kids should behave and what they should think about when they see a heavy truck in traffic. Then when we introduce systems, when we develop our systems, we make sure that we stay well above the legal requirements and really focus on what do these systems need to do to really make a difference in real traffic.
And can you tell me a bit about what is happening within truck safety today?
We look outside then Volvo and we look at the society and then at Europe. There are a lot of new regulations coming that has put a focus on truck safety and then especially on the safety of pedestrians and cyclists. So we have a lot of new regulations coming. We also see in some places, like for instance London, they have recently introduced requirements for direct vision, which they will now also put the next level on. So again, big focus on pedestrians and cyclists. We also see that rating of vehicles, the way that is currently done for passenger cars, will also come for heavy trucks.
And what do you think needs to be done to try to reduce these types of accidents with cyclists and pedestrians?
A lot. I think we have a lot to do with the vehicles as such, of course. We know that many of these accidents, when they happen, it's often the case that the truck driver did not have a good view of the pedestrian or the cyclist prior to the accident. So of course there's a lot to do there, and of course also a lot is coming there in terms of new truck systems, better camera systems, and also the regulations that are addressing this. But I think it's also important that we work again, then take a wider approach to safety. And here we need to work with the traffic situations because they are very complex. And of course, then it's if we can solve that in a better way, like for instance, that a heavy truck and a cyclist, they are not having a green light at the same time when the truck wants to turn right and the cyclist wants to go straight, because then you have a conflict situation that is really difficult to address fully. And of course, it's also very good if pedestrians and cyclists pay attention to traffic and are aware of the risks, because even if, of course, it is the responsibility of a truck driver and of the trucks to not hit anybody else, of course, that's obvious, but it's also in the interest of the cyclist and the pedestrian to be aware of the risks and act accordingly to reduce the risk.
Okay, so regulations are getting tougher to reduce the risk of this type of accident. How is that impacting you and your customers?
Well, of course, it's impacting us because then these systems will become available all over the truck fleets. All brands will have them, so it's impacting us. But we also, I mean, as a truck manufacturers with a really strong safety mindset, we like to stay well ahead of the regulations. So, of course, we will offer all of these systems that are required by law, but we will not stop there. We will also look even further into trying to reduce the accidents. For our customers, of course, it means that their trucks, as well as everybody else's trucks, will then be equipped with these new systems. And with that, I think it's also important that they make an effort to understand what these systems are about. They are there to support them, but we still rely very much on the driver to be safety conscious and to drive in a risk-reducing way in traffic. But then I think also it's very important that we focus not only on whether we actually reach zero or not, because the work that we do now to try to get closer to zero saves a lot of lives. And that's important. That's really important, and that's really the main reason why we have this vision.
So what needs to be done to reach zero accidents?
Well, if we want to reach zero accidents, it's not only about the vehicles. I mean, we need to work on all pieces of the puzzle. I mean, traffic safety or traffic is complex. So we need to work with the vehicles, of course. Truck systems, safety systems need to become better. They need to address more accident types. That's a given. But on top of that, we also need to work with infrastructure and us as road users. So here it's not something that anybody can do on their own. So it's really important that we also collaborate between different parts of the society, between vehicle manufacturers, but also the infrastructure designers, and also schools and education, because it's also about bringing the knowledge out there and raising the awareness.
We've touched on active safety systems. What's your general view on this and how we use those with the driver as well?
Well, I really believe in active safety systems. I do think that that's where we need to focus going forward. We should not forget completely about the passive safety, but I really think that our main focus should be within the active safety and active safety systems that are designed to avoid accidents from happening, or at least mitigating the consequences. We need to widen the accident types that these systems can help prevent. We also need to improve the systems that we already have. But on top of that, we also need to work with communication, like communicate how these systems actually are intended to work, because it's important that we don't over-rely on the active safety systems. They need to be there sort of as an extra safety layer on top of the most important safety system that is actually in the truck, and that is the driver.
What can Volvo customers expect in the future when it comes to safety?
They can expect basically from us that we will continue the work that we are doing, that we will continue our strong focus on safety. Like I said, I do think that our main focus should be within the active safety field, developing even better systems, improving the systems that we already have, adding more systems to our offer to avoid also different accident types that we do not address today. So that is what they can expect from us. And they can also expect from us that when we do develop active safety systems or any system, we will not stop at legal requirements. We will make sure that these systems are developed to really work well in real traffic situations, and this we then get from our own accident research. So we will make sure that our systems, we will have more systems, we will have better systems, and we will avoid more accidents going forward.
Do you feel optimistic that we can reach Volvo's objective of zero accidents?
I do feel optimistic. I mean, I think that it is in our future. I don't think it's 5 years from now. I don't think it's 10 years from now. But I do think that we will reach zero. It's really about the lives that are being saved on our path towards zero.